Okay. That's not a bad little picture. Let's tip the screen there and zoom in on that. It's a nice program called Scalpel. Unfortunately, it doesn't work too well on my Windows laptop. It doesn't have a lot of power. That's a whole other story, you know. Found a lot of things going on. Taking my draining the funds. A lot of traveling. All kinds of different things in the storyline, I guess you could say. So, what's that have to do with anything? What was that there for? I'm making a video here, obviously, and I'm trying to maybe tell a little story. I sent out a message or two to some different people, and there's just so much to kind of explain. So how do I do that? See, this wonderful program, I'm amazed it opened so fast. Maybe there's and it was responding. Let me just try something here. Let me just try something here. Yep, there we go. Wow. Wait, ready? Ooh, increased response time. Let me just delete that. So I had some updates on the computer, and I contacted the company because there was a problem with their authentication. You see, you purchased a program, and then I used to have a Mac Mini and another laptop, and now I had to go buy this one because two of my computers all broke at once. Well, one broke on its own, the other I broke it on purpose because it wasn't functioning properly, and so it was no good. So rather than put up with the frustration of trying to wait for it to figure things out, or it spent more time updating and trying to start or doing other things on its own, which was really disturbing. Light switches should do as they're told. Pocket calculators, turn them on, add the numbers, shut it off. Don't wait, you know. Anyways. So there was some updates, I guess, to the program. There was updates to Windows. And the company, I emailed them. They had this thing, you purchased the program, but when you're plugged into the internet, you turn it on. See, I had other computers, so I would, shut one off from the internet, and then you could use the program all you want. It worked great and everything. Then you plug it into the internet if you want, and whatever. It doesn't matter. But if you're connected to the internet, like this laptop is right now, there was no issue here. I opened the program. I was looking for that little thing there, the little Superman symbol, because that's my thing, I guess. I wear all my shirts, t-shirts, everything, Superman shirts. I don't happen to be wearing a shirt right now. Just my dog tags and, well, track pants, long underwear, whatever. Socks. I'm just chilling. So I open up this program, and it's got to verify kind of that you've purchased it or something, and they had a problem with their server. And every time you try to open the program, it would lock up. And if you have a slow computer, it makes it even 10 times worse. Plus, it's not updated, or the program's not updated, or two of them aren't compatible. The computer operating system and the program aren't, mutually updated, so it doesn't work out well, right? So I emailed the company, and I was like really kind of upset because I've done a tremendous amount of research and a lot of it's on this program. I'm sick and tired of this. Oh, I had a joke when I was in the Army. The formula is 8 wieners, 12 buns. Everything's fragmented to put a little sand grit in the back of your head. Kind of like, eventually, if it's like an oyster, you can turn that into a pearl. However, it's meant to fragment. People walk out the grocery store, just go along with the story here. People walk around the grocery store or scratching the back of their head going, why can't they just make 8 wieners and 8 buns, or 12 wieners and 12 buns? Why do I gotta do math? 3 packs of wieners and 2 packs of buns to balance it out? Is that how it's supposed to be done? We gotta do some kind of freaking trigonometry and algebra? Multiplication? Can't just make it simple. Maybe it is meant to be fragmented, through the looking glass. But it's broken. That's what I mean. There's a crack in the glass, so you look through it in the window or something, and it looks different. Who knows what I'm talking about? I'm just making up kind of stuff right now. So the point is, I showed this little picture. The program, they figured everything out. I'm surprised. It's the first time I opened it. I was nervous. I haven't opened it for days. Been kind of pissed off about it because I want to, I've been wanting to do something. But then again, if I do something, the most flack when you're over the target. If you build it, well, it don't matter. My whole life seems to have been like that anyways. I lost the last 4 or 5 years of my life trying to find a place to live in my country and to be avoiding. I've had some weird experiences with some people that were a couple people, and they tell you too. I had a relationship with someone and they tell me that they were sent by someone else to find out who I was working for. I'm just happened to be an ex-soldier. I got a pension and I was able to just piss around in life, travel around. I took the name Psy0ps Agent years and years ago just as a bit of a joke, because I made myself a bet one day. Because you see, I've been on the internet for a number of years. I've been looking around since the original days. So there's a lot of people nowadays, they grew up watching it. They were, they're in their 25 years old, 30s kind of range now. And their entire existence is not a generation watching TV or anything like that. So just an observer, I guess. I was just a guy that went to the library. There's like snake oil salesmen that play that routine. I'm just your average guy, and I was doing some research one day on the internet, and I seem to have discovered, fuck all. How do I try to convey so much information in a short period of time here? So what is that there? That was the program, right? We're jumping around. Oh yeah, consider the concept that we're in a racquetball room, okay? And instead of the two-dimensional kind of version of follow the bouncing ball, where, if you've ever seen that, some kind of song is playing and it's like a karaoke machine. The words come up on the screen, the ball bounces word to word. You're supposed to say the words or read along at the pace that the ball is bouncing. Now, I explain things in a 4-dimensional hypercube kind of way sometimes. And so, the ball that I got people want you to follow is bouncing around a racquetball room. It ain't moving in a two-dimensional way. Okay? Like a lateral view of a lightning bolt. So, where do we go? How do we start? What do I get into? Start with the picture. I opened that program just because I wanted to open the program to see if it would actually work. And I'm pretty impressed with my memory there, because that little point there, that part that I showed on here, I'll show it again. Let's look at it. Here we go. It isn't ready here. So what am I doing? Why? So I used that. Encryption is kryptonite. What is that crap? What's the Superman symbol? The guy thinks he's Superman or something, or some kind of crap like that? What's going on? Look at that, 325 notes. Too bad it didn't have 322 notes, or 666, just to creep people up, freak them out. Not that those things mean anything, or maybe they're improperly interpreted. What do we got here? Ooh, you know what I'm going to use? My crayon pencil. Can we put that in there? It's nice. I call it my crayon pencil. It's thick. It's not like a normal pencil. A normal pencil is like half, or something like that, the size of this. So, we'll notice here, we're going to consider this, it's a symbol for the House of L. And if turn it sideways, how do we do that? We're going to do it like this. Whoa, what does that do? Okay, now we'll go this way, just in case. So if I upload this, whatever happens, you can pause it there. Or I plugged in, so I gotta move the cord around. Wait a second, what happened here? Orientation, everything. I see a line. Gotta go the other way. Okay, there we go. Okay, hope I'm not making anybody motion sick or something like that. So consider that a sine wave, perhaps. It's just this way. Put a line through that. You got the staff for the like the medical kind of thing, eh? Maybe? I don't know. I just made that crap up. Don't take that serious. But this is different. So we got the E, we got the E, we got the N, we got an N, you got the C, you got the K, you got the R, you got the R, you got the Y, you got the Y, you got the B, you got the B, you got the T, you got the T, you got the I, you got the I, you got the O, you got the O, you got the N, you got the N. But wait a minute, there's two T's. There's a C. What did I get that? I put the K. That was wrong. What is the N? Because I already used the N. Oh, so the K is right. The C is right. I'm sorry, I was confused here. I'm looking at something else. Because it's hard. I'm doing this from this picture rather than writing it out. Right? I could open up a text file, write that out, or try to explain it. If I was drawing it on a chalkboard or something like that, I don't happen to have one right now. Right? The whole point of this program was to put together some of this stuff in a way for people to kind of read it. And then somebody pops up this chart there on the internet. Well, I was looking at Twitter. Somebody popped up some chart. I was supposed to make a video maybe for someone. Well, I thought they wanted me to tell them something, so I thought, what a better way than rather than typing it in a couple small boxes, I can just make a short video for them. But then I was perusing around the internet for a couple days trying to think about what I was going to do for the video. And then I see somebody else on Twitter. Not that I'm promoting it. Don't like to, use names sometimes. There's the ball bouncing around the room. And so they had this chart, right? I got a chart. My chart's better. Here, let me see if I can open one up. Oh, you know which one I'll open up? I got some really good ones, though. They're like mind map charts, but only in 2 dimensions. Oh, look at the size of that. Okay, let's see. We're going to pop this up here. Here we go. Okay. That's sideways, and it's blurry. That ticks me off. There we go. So anyways, We don't need to worry about that. Let's do it this way. In case anybody saw something there. I'm rationing my cigarettes. So we're just going to scan across. Just pretend that has nothing to do with nothing, okay? Let's just make believe. I'm writing a story. This is mine. Okay, what you just saw there was, that's one kind of chart that I'm working on. I got, how many files are in there? 39. But there's 5 or 6 charts on each of those kind of 39 different files like this. Some of them are like a timeline of sorts, I guess, and others are just clips of paragraphs of information and references, and 3 or 4 of them are just a bibliography to back it all up. In case I was working on a possible fictional story, or I'm putting together an anthology or a collection of information that is realistic and can be verified. Let's just say I was doing my own version, one thing, of maybe the history of medical science. And I gotta back everything up. I gotta look up all the references, and I gotta have multiple references so that if somebody tries to shoot one down, they're not just shooting one down. The rule usually would be triplicate if you can find it. Back it up in triplicate. Not just one peer review. Oh, jeez, there we go. See? Oh, if anybody's seen what I just did there. Stand down at ease and have a nice day. Dragon covered the tiger. What am I talking about? So much going through my mind here. So many distractions. I'm trying to get myself in a worked up, energetic state. And I don't want to take too long explaining some stuff here, because this is really... So, there's those charts. So, what's that? The letters match up, encryption and kryptonite, and a sine wave. What's this guy talking about? What the heck does that mean? And I made a mistake there, because I was, I'm looking at the letters, but I can't kind of move them around right away, and I could draw it on a piece of paper, but I don't happen to have one handy right now. Whatever. So you gotta just imagine in your mind, and that's even better. That's better, because like I said, just try to put the concept of a racquetball room or a square room with a ball bouncing all over the place, off the roof, off the floor, off all 4 walls, all over, and you gotta follow this around. This is put a 3-dimensional mind map in your head, right? Move around. So, I don't know, I'm not giving instructions in a way, close your eyes and imagine the letters for the word kryptonite, and then rearrange them. So you got the E, you got the T, you got the C or the K, you got the R, you got the Y, you got the P, you got the T, you got I, O, N. Now, the K is a C sound, K. Right? So the K and the C are the same thing. You could put it E. See, because the letters actually spell encryption. E-T-K-R-Y-P-T-I-O-N. Well, encryption doesn't mean anything. And then why would you just play word magic games and change the N to a T so that it spells encryption, even if you put a K there? Well, there's a formula, let's just say. And, see, I'm trying to tell this in 2 different ways. One is an entertaining way that's a fictional story in a parallel universe on an Earth just like ours, where things may have evolved in some kind of split Marty McFly, Emmett Brown, Emmett was time backwards perhaps, timeline. Or I'm trying to explain things that it's a creative kind of mishmash idea or collage of a bunch of different storylines, and And things that might be original. Maybe I'm making it up for my story, right? And I don't know if I want to have it happen on this world here, because this is going to be it's not a nice story. It's a little bit disturbing, perhaps. Maybe it's a bit of a science fiction horror story, because the supposed greatest trick ever pulled was convincing you that there is no devil or criminal plot, crime against humanity. I don't want to use that word. Overused words sometimes. So let's consider the dental letters. The word dental is spelled D-E-N-T-A-L. And in ancient Egypt, or possibly it was called Kemet. They didn't use vowels. And there wasn't just the language of hieroglyphics, right? The Egyptians had a different language. Oh, the name is there. It just left me. Is it hieratic? Let me just see. Hieratic script. Come on. Other concerning priests, no. Ancient Greek. Okay, well, that's close. System used, a cursive writing system used for ancient Egyptian. Principal script used to write a language from its development in the 33rd century BCE until the rise of the Demotic in the mid-first millennium. So that's some actual history and knowledge there, right? I think there might be something else there that I wanted to throw in, but that's for another time. So let me see here. I'll go back to my little chart. So the dental letters are D-N-T-L if you remove the vowels, because there were no vowels in the Egyptian, let's just say, languages. So the dental letters are D-N-T-L, and they're the dental letters, which is weird because it spells dental. If you add the vowels, E and A, you got the word dental, and they are the dental letters. Trippy. Mind equals blown. Right? So the T and the N, all dental letters, are the tongue touches the top of the palate. And the T and the N are interchangeable. So in this instance, the card up my sleeve formula, the N and the T are interchangeable. The T and the N are interchangeable. So the encryption becomes encryption. Holy crap, it took all that just to explain that. So encryption is kryptonite. Kryptonite is apparently, in the mythology or the fictional story realm, the substance that weakens Superman. You know, apparently, whatever. Can go into the details. Oh, there's different colors of kryptonite, and there's the canon and whatever story, and there's the it's part of his home planet. Whatever, in the yellow sun and all the jazz, whatever. Okay, so kryptonite weakens Superman, right? According to the story. It's interesting to note that apparently in the original story, there was no concept or idea of Krypton and kryptonite, or kryptonite rather, and stuff like that. And that was added later by somebody else. So Superman comes from the house of L. L is a very important letter because it's also just a 90-degree angle, if you want it to be, and you could go into a mishmash, a collage of various different research sources, and I tried to prove so many of them wrong. And then I spent time somebody instructed me in a way, told me to look for certain things maybe, and then stay away from others, or be aware of the possibility of like a lot of crap. So when I first started looking at things, there was stories that started showing up in the media and the internet that I don't want to go into or bother mentioning right now, but just the concept of seeing these things, I was like, no, that's for the civilians, or that's meant to demoralize people, or that's meant to distract people and keep them away from something, whatever it was. I didn't know at the time. I was on to something though, but let's just say I didn't know at the time. And so there'd be a story that would come on the news, right? And I'd be like, whatever, they're just gonna, that's just like entertainment and theater. As Tony Stark said, a lot of theater. So years and years and years ago, YouTube started, and then like a couple of years or a year or so into it, I got on there in a different channel, a couple different channels over the years or something like that. And people were searching for this thing called the truth. So the whole term truther as a derogatory term to shut down intellectual kind of conversation kind of came from, insult somebody. What are you, a logician? What do you study facts? Are you one of those fact finders? I think it's this person just pathetically sick. Anyway, so there was like stuff, people were looking for answers, asking questions. If there was some kind of thing going on in the world, how could so many people be involved? And then, a story would come out, and I'd be like, oh, if you're on an actual pursuit for knowledge and verifiable facts, stay away from that story, because I'm betting you money or something like that. Next week, they're going to come out with another story saying, oh, sorry, but there's a whole crap load of people that are going to latch on to this crap. And then in a week, they're all going to be discredited, because it's going to come out as, oh, we made a mistake, and it turns out that wasn't true, Crop circles. I was a little kid watching some show. And next week, we sent our hidden cameras, and we're gonna tell you how the crop circles were made. And then the show never came back on the air. I was a kid. I was like, I don't know how old it was. It was like some Leonard Nimoy in Search Of or something like that. It was a different show than that, but it wasn't that one. It was a show like that, right? In search of like facts or the truth or the mysteries or something, whatever. And then he did one show, and I waited. That was like the first time when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, where's a calendar? I need a calendar. Mark it off on a calendar, whatever. Set the alarm, remind myself I don't want to miss that show. Never came back on. Then I watched this comedy panel show a couple of years ago, and they introduced these guys. It was a show from a different country. They introduced these guys, and they were like bragging, yeah, we made the crop circles, we went to university, Oxford, something like that. We studied, algebra, trigonometry, engineering, and we just went out to a field with a board and string. We made these crop circles, and then all these people think it was like the ghosts and the aliens and the freaking secret clubs. I call them Dick Tracy boy band tree fort clubs. I like to insult them. My name for them is a druidic mariner Saturn worshipping pedophile cult. It's my fictional story, right? So the DNTL are interchangeable letters. Boom, the ball just went to the other side of the room there. Encryption is kryptonite. Kryptonite weakens Superman. Or Supergirl, Superwoman. Supergirl sounds cooler, Doesn't imply that you're a girl. You're a woman. Super female. Oh, wow. Is it 14 or no, 3 or 4 other names? Super neutral. Super they. This went through my head. Whatever. Okay, so We're sticking to the binary, as in binary code. As in binary freaking code, as in 1 and 0, as in I and O, okay? So, kryptonite weakens Superman or Supergirl. And that would be an allegorical story for how encrypting knowledge or information weakens the person or human being that doesn't have access to that code or encryption, and it weakens them, and so they don't understand it. And so somebody could be speaking in a bit of a secret language right in front of your face using the same language, English, and you wouldn't even understand. Or somebody might not understand the character. The Superman or the Superwoman wouldn't be able to understand it, and they'd be weakened by the effect of this encryption with the kryptonite. And if you take away the encryption, if you take away the kryptonite, or you solve the encryption or give them access to the code, let's say, it makes them smarter, makes them more powerful, gives them their strength back, and they become the Superman or the Supergirl again. Boys, my little friend here, where'd you go? Where did you go? You gotta just stop distracting me. Okay? You're a good girl. I just want you to... Oh, you're such a monster face. Yeah. Guys, me love you. Me love you. Go sit down. Don't worry about it. Pretend I'm watching a show. I'm busy. You know that one. I'm busy. Talking. Go just lay down. Be a good girl. So, the I and the O. What am I talking about here? The mile. How about we take the word mile? A mile is M-I-L-E. And we're going to compare that to a kilometer. A kilometer is 1,000 meters. How do we know this? Because we're told this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to get to the point here. I'm trying to appeal to so many different audiences, and then I'm trying to do it in a bit of a neutral way right now, because at one point, this is going to get insidiously sinister, nasty, disturbing, maybe even that old, one of those trigger words, one of the, what was it? I used the word earlier. Anyways, the cognitive dissonance or the repulsion will kick in. I got a shiver just saying it now, because so many people are using these kind of trigger words online. Back in the day, trivium and quadrivium, and do your research and all that. And nobody ever does. I did. They all went off on a trail. Divided, conquered. Every week a new carrot. I call it carrots. Dangling a carrot. In the counterintelligence world, it's called, turning people, give them some, they do the snowflake. They flutter around like a butterfly, and they go to the water cooler. Even the word, let's pretend, like winter, snowflake, whatever. Because I can't even talk about binary code. Why? Because the I and the O, let's pretend that is the male and the female, and the Isis and the Osiris. Now, I just said Isis. Oh, crap. How many people are thinking about the Egyptian goddess? All hail the house of El, all hail the mighty Ra. Praise the goddess Isis. But the Egyptian goddess, has nothing to do with whatever else people think about in relation to that word. What if somebody hates women? In my cult, Druidic Mariners, Saturn worshiping little cult. And none of those words. They don't have to be druids. They don't have to be mariners. They don't have to be Saturn worshippers. It's just those words mean something else. But let's just say that this little cult hates women kind of deal. No girls allowed in the, here's an old one, the Little Rascals Tree Fort Club. That's why I call it Dick Tracy Boy Band Tree Fort Club, Little Rascals. Got to fit that in there. And little, Tree Fort house with the little sign on the door, no girls allowed. So somebody doesn't like women. So when I'm talking about Ishtar, or Osset, Isis kind of deal, your mind goes and thinks about something, is triggered and thinks about something else. What do we got there? We got the proximity, what's that called? Here, let me see if I can find the file. I gotta tell you, I wrote it down here the other day. Come on. See, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't sure what I'm gonna talk about here. Okay, there we go. The workplace proximity. An episode of The Big Bang Theory where Amy's doing research in her lab and she's got a monkey and she's showing pictures to the monkey, and then Sheldon walks in and like all of a sudden Sheldon and the monkey start responding to the pictures that Amy's showing the monkey. But since, let's go with, we're a primate species, so a lot of people believe a lot of different things, but we're talking biology, we're talking science, we're talking math, we're talking things that I guess most people, even myself, we went to high school. Maybe I took a college course, maybe I took a few other things, maybe we studied for years. Maybe I've had the time since I've been on a pension to do some studying, but a lot of other people went to university, they became lawyers, doctors, scientists, right? They study languages. You can't just think that everybody knows everything because you're all whatever. Still, I think we're a bunch of civilians, no offense, just a bunch of kids running around. Once you leave high school, nobody learns anything else, and you grow up to become adults, and you go and do responsible things as adults and stuff, but you didn't go to law school. We didn't take LSAT tests. We didn't learn to think using deductive reasoning or empirical thought processing or inductive reasoning or higher mathematics. Like, how about some of that beautiful mind mathematics on a chalkboard? Who the hell knows what that shit means? That's what I'm talking about. But it means something. So what if some smart people just a fictional story. See, that's why I'm getting caught up here. Fictional story. Let's stick with a fictional story. On my parallel Earth, in a fictional world, it's kind of a split timeline, there was a group of bad guys that got together a long time ago. Let's say kind of like a Bronze Age collapse. Some guy that we have, like an Alexander the Great, went around to Egypt. There, and we're in a parallel world. This isn't our world. Never mind, forget it. This isn't our history. This is a different version. Okay, so this guy, Alexander the Great, somebody calls him the Great. I think he's a prick. I think he's a mass murdering, fucking deviant prick, super intelligent. He's a Superman. That's why they call him the Great, perhaps. But this is my fictional story. They're sitting around one day, cavemen, things like that. Somebody makes some iron swords. Everybody else got bronze. Right? They're sitting around a fire. Somebody's like, hey, they're all criminals, ancient kind of pirate kind of dudes. Bad guys. Hey, whatever. What do you say we take one of these iron swords and a whole crap load of them, and the bunch of us just go, slaughter some priests and put on some priest robes, and let's go kill everybody in the village, and and then steal their children and raise them up to think that we're the pharaohs after we kill all the rest of everybody, and we'll study astronomy instead of just going around like pirates we're jumping timelines here, pirates that go around selling rum. We're gonna send our kids to school. We're gonna learn the chemical formula to make our own rum. We're going to start a factory. We're going to start a business. We're going to get all the contracts and the legal information. We're going to figure it all out. We're going to sell them the rum. Instead of whatever. We'll just go wipe out Egypt. We'll recreate the language. And we'll put this coded information into language so that only we know what it means. And nobody else knows what it means. Whatever, I was just joking. And then everybody else is around the fire, kind of like, whoa. Hey man, we're a bunch of dirty, nasty thugs and primates. We don't believe in any gods. Those stupid civilian peasants, they believe in gods. Right? So why don't we just, you got a good idea there. Oh, I was just joking. No. We can be rich. We can start a little club like the Magicians Guild in the Las Vegas kind of thing or whatever, in that other parallel universe you were describing, which would be our world. I'm paying attention to other things right now. Dude, this is a great idea. Let's go do it. Let's go, wipe out some villages, kidnap all the kids, because we're a brutal, fucking savage race of deviant primates. Why did I go off on all these tangents? The ball's bouncing around the room, I told you. Because other people have different beliefs, and if I say something like, we are primates, oh no, we were created by what? Go along, it's my story. So we are primates. Primates that evolved into what we are now. And what we were in the past. So the Romans kind of there was lineages and pedigrees, just like dogs. Just like when you have a poodle show, different breeds and pedigrees of animals, and it was some science fiction shows or things, or even whatever. My name is so and so, and I come from the house of so and so, and I carry the sacred, staff of the ancestors, and I wear the necklace of magic, and blah blah blah, and so I'm one of the elites, the elites. L. Superman comes from the house of L. L is a 90-degree angle. Where am I going with all of this? Gotta bounce around the room, put all these puzzle pieces together in some kind of... I'm being distracted. And there's a lot of time passing by. I'm being distracted right now. It's bothering me. So, they went around and they killed all kinds of people. They raised up their kids and the thing and started putting information into words, into language. Things like, jumping back, kilometer, a kilometer. Says right in the word, kilometer. How long is a piece of string? No, how long is a kilometer? What is the measurement of a kilometer? It's 1,000 meters. How do you know that? Well, because somebody told me. Also, no, you can look at the word if you understand the language, and it says right in it, kilometer, 1,000 meters. A kilometer is 1,000 meters. Okay? Centimeter, things like that. Millimeter. Measurements built into the word. Now, we go to the word mile. What is a mile? I don't know. Most people don't know. Some people know. Some people know. Some people memorized it. This is the point. Someone that understands when you take the kryptonite or the encryption away, they become more powerful. They seem more knowledgeable. They seem like they might have a divine connection, a divine authority, a mandate from heaven, access to the sacred and the profane and the evil knowledge. Right? Working magic. But they just know a code that wasn't created by them in our present period in time. It was created by people centuries ago that were super fucking smart. And they went outside. And they knew how to, grow food, breed animals. It moved from plant husbandry to animal husbandry to, I say, human husbandry. Different way of managing slaves. And there's so many bastards out there that pretend to be telling the truth. And then there's other people that are just their creation, like an entire generation of people raised on the internet. And then the chart that's formed from all the information that's been bouncing around for 15 years, and people believe that crap as a second kind of mythology, and then they dismiss it as it has no relevance or realistic kind of application. I found something different, many different things. So how many feet are in a mile? Why did I pause and say it like that? Hecklers. How many feet are in a mile? Many people don't know. I didn't know at one time. I had to go look it up. Before the internet, you had to use a book. Or go to the library or ask somebody that knew. However, if you understood this coding system, you would know that M is 1,000, I is 1, L is 50, and an E is the fifth letter of the alphabet. And for purposes of discussion here, it's the yellow color, or the green color, because the colors of light go from the red shift to the blue shift. So the red, the yellow, and the blue, or the red, the green, and the blue, are the colors of the Superman shirt. Yellow, sun; green, kryptonite. Red and the blue, red, yellow, blue is the colors of the guy's suit. That's the colors of light. And the ancient god of light from the king of Phoenicia. This is my parallel world. Same kind of deal. Split timeline. Something different happened there. The ancient god of light from Cain of Phoenicia was El. Superman comes from the house of El. All hail the mighty Ra. Right ascension. 23.4 degrees minus subtracted minus subtracted. 90 degrees minus 23.4 degrees for an axial tilt of the Earth 5,000 years ago leaves 66.6 degrees and points to the constellation Draco. The number of the beast is 666, Draco, the constellation. However, now we are at Polaris. It's been 5,000 years. Astrology's out the window because it's not astronomy. And the precessional cycle, blah, 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 it's different. So, see, this is where it gets, people have cried. I spent most of my life thinking I was one sign, found out that the planets shifted 2,000 years and I'm not actually that sign. I would be 3,000 years ago. The sign that the astrology tells me that I apparently am, but not today, so it doesn't apply. So I'm sorry. It's not my fault. I've had people years ago when I started studying some of these things, I tried to be excited. Hey, tell somebody something. They got like an Aries tattoo or something, and they're really a Pisces, and they like, I'm really a Pisces, but I got this permanent tattoo. Oh no. See, and now if I just told that to somebody that's listening to this, they're going to be all pissed off or maybe upset, or maybe they're going to flip out with the repulsion is a replacement word for cognitive dissonance. They're going to repel, you know? Well, you can't talk about it. I don't want to listen to this crap anymore. People cry, man. It's not my fault. So the E, the ordinal number, floats. It's used again to multiply. Jumping back to the E, and the A between the dental letters D and TL, and they're interchangeable using the card I'm keeping up my sleeve there. So the M-I-L-E, a mile. How many feet in a mile? M is 1,000, I is 1, L is 50, E is 5, and it's an ordinal number, and it's used to multiply the sum of 1,000, 150, and 5, which is 1,056, times 5 is 5,280. That is the number of feet in a mile. Oh, wow. Talk about hyperdimensional mathematics and tesseracts, four-dimensional hypercubes, because then you got 3 Roman numerals and an English E, But then the mile apparently was discovered by the Egyptians. So then somebody took that into Rome and did something to create, working this coding into a language that would become English. And then the word mile, to pay homage to the dead cultures, or ones that were conquered, they throw their crap in there. They throw stuff from the dead or conquered cultures into everything that we have, so that it pays some type of homage or mocks them, or draws energy away from people actually remembering the stuff or something like that. So, I don't know, does that seem kind of weird? My own interpretation, I made that up, is that I had to find a thing, because there's that verse I mentioned earlier in a book. Let's call it the Bib L, the Book of L. Bib is bibliography, L is E-L, and L-E are the same. So angle and angel. An angel is a messenger of light, and an angle of light is comprised of photonic particles that carry information. And an angel of God is a messenger of God. Or an angel is a messenger of God. I'll say it's the generative, the ordinative, and the destructive forces, the blue, the yellow, and the red, G-O-D. The Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, the creative energy, the maintenance or the ordinate, and the destructive, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Now I'm going to say that in my world, there was a deception that took the Trimurti, the three allegorical anthropomorphized gods. Now we're warming up. It's only been 51 minutes. I might as well just jump in and give it all out as much as I can, I guess. So, I'm just getting ready to... Am I really doing this and saying this? I posted in messages and talked about it in a while. I made some videos a long time ago about it. So, what the heck did I just do there? So some things here are just maybe my own interpretation. Some come from actual facts that are backed up. But we're in a parallel universe, so none of this perhaps is real in our world. It's just a story. 1 minute. Need to get a drink. I'm also, the walls might be a little, I don't want people to be making out the words I'm saying here. It's actually warmed up quite a bit. Shut off the heater over there. There's a bit of a space in the door. I had to put a towel, I guess 2 towels in the seam of the door that leads directly to the outside, and the seal on one, not the ceiling, the seal on one side of the door isn't sealed. Wow. And so there's very cold air blowing in. So I put 2 towels there, close the door to seal that, and then the heater was warming up the room, and now it's actually warm. The wind has calmed down. But as I'm speaking, I don't want anyone else to hear me maybe in the next door, or even outside. There's some creepy weirdo. It's a strange neighborhood. I've seen some people hanging around the door, trying to look in the windows a couple times. I got it all fixed up now. Anyways, I'm just trying to stay a little quiet. And besides, I'm talking about stuff that's going to send depending on, I was going to make a video here for one person to kind of compact some information in there. But then I'm deciding that the gifts, could have privatized it, but then I was thinking, like, I saw this chart, and it kind of ticks me off, but at the same time, I want to keep this to myself, but then I was going to give it out eventually, or start talking about it eventually. It's mine, my story, fictional world, whether it applies here or not. So let's just keep on pretending. You gotta let go, empty your cup. Don't be offended because it's just a fictional story, pretend. Right? And this is, let's say it's evil. It's corrupt, it's perverted, it's demented, it's criminal. Evil's a subjective term. We might be dealing with some psychotic evolution of the species that is simply a darker side of mankind, the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, that's been repressed within us, and it's manifested itself in something else and has become so intelligent and devious that it has hidden itself from us, and then it makes you think that it's the freaking ghosts like Scooby-Doo. It's just a perverted old man with a sheet over his head, and I'm a pesky kid who doesn't believe that the Wizard of Oz is real, that it's just some old man snake oil salesman behind a curtain with a bunch of smoke and mirrors and bells and whistles, trying to pretend he's still the Pharaoh. So there's a chart with all these places. What if none of these organizations are involved? Well, here's a concept. This will piss somebody off. What if they're just like money laundering fronts, or just places to keep people busy? What if they're not what other people think they are? Is some type of organizations that are some kind of deeply criminal thing run by demons or alien influences or whatever, things like that, right? People like, maybe there's 100 people working there and only 2 belong to this Druidic Mariner, Saturn worshipping pedophile called DMS. So, in the Indus Valley, you got the Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the 3 allegorical gods for the forces of the universe and nature. Universal. Universal, the one phrase of L. Everything, I'm just going to start tossing things. Everything originates from the original cult, L. Uruk, cult of and El. Somebody wanted to get rid of the Phoenicians, and somebody created the Latin language. That's extremely intelligent, logical, legal maxims. What the heck? Where's all that knowledge? Huh? Did I have it? Does everybody got it? Or is it the woe to you? Oh, lawyers and scribes for taking the key of knowledge. Not, hiding it and not entering in yourselves and hindering others from entering in. But what if that Bib El, the Book of El, is just an allegorical book, just like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva aren't real people or gods? It's just the creative energy, a white hole, the balanced force of the universe, and a black hole. And so, somebody decides to turn it into a monotheistic kind of religion and pervert and distort an actual holistic system that works and functions perfectly in harmony with nature and the universe. And then they're going to try to trick everybody down the road by pretending to bring out a solution to fix everything in a unified global system. But it's still not there and not on, right? And besides that other, jumping back, that picture I showed you, whatever it was, with a picture of the sun and Frankenstein and whatever else is there. The planet Earth, there's Venus, there was Saturn, there's a feather, There's an urn. There's a female uterus. There's a bull. There's a picture of a river flowing with the deposition of the currency on one side and the erosion of the currency eroding on the other side. One side collects deposits, the other side erodes. You put your ashes or your gems in a clay pot or an urn, your ashes of your ancestors in an urn. You earn your cache of goods, URN, CACHE, homonyms, words that sound the same but are spelled differently and have different meanings and concepts. And you store it in the riverbank. Store it in the right side where it deposits, and it will build up and protect your investment, I guess. If you store it on the other side of the river, it will erode or tax it, discharge the energy from it, and erode it away. Second law of thermodynamics. So Brahma is the creator, and that leave out the ordinance and the destruction. Hide that. Just go with the creator. God, I guess, Brahma. So then if you want to take that concept and distort it and then go somewhere else and kind of raise up another culture believing something different, you can just shift. Maybe in my story, somebody shifted the A from the end of Brahma and put it at the front, and they got Abram. And then they took Brahma's wife, Saraswati, and they took off the Swati part and just called her Sarah. So you got Abram and Sarah. The foundation of a fragmented Ray Legion, a legion of Ra. I got this from multiple sources and different things, and some of my own concepts and information and studying and things and looking behind the veil and, that wall of fire in some movies or stories, things like that. Don't go there. Put all the gold in a nice Egyptian tomb and then just draw a star, a pentagram on it, and tell everybody that it's cursed and they won't go and touch it. And they, hide the information in the cult books, and people will think it's evil and they won't go look. Right? They'll think it's Satan. Let's go to another level of the game here, I guess. They'll think it's Satan or Lucifer or I'm going to use a different word. Don't want to trigger anybody here, but we're going to use a variation of a word that many people are familiar with. Illumination. Illuminatus. Notice I said Illuminatus, and not another word that has been discharged and people have pissed on and think it has useless value or it's just silly. This is a story, a fictional story, so forget the real world here. So using this wonderful coding system, what if the S in Satan is a 3? The A is the first letter of the alphabet, that's a 1. The T is a 4, the A is a 1, and the N is a 5. That's 31415, which in mathematics is pi, 3.1415. Okay? So what if the word mile is 5,280 feet, and the kilometer is 1,000 meters, and Satan means pi, 3.1415. And Lucifer is L, which is a fallen angle, or a fallen angel. And remember I said angels and angles are the same thing, just an allegory. Because some guy, Je suis, the great I am, said, I speak in allegory for ears to hear and eyes that see in the fictional universe. Parallel Earth. Oh, my stomach is... my drink, I finished it. So, So I was going on there about, well, yeah, because earlier I mentioned astrology too. And so there's, I don't have the picture handy. Oh, could I look it up? Could I look it up really quick? Let me just see. So there's two versions of things. There's the original holistic version that contains powerful or encrypted or sacred or interesting information. And then there's another version that's perverted and cracked, fragmented, distorted. Let me see if I can find that here. There it is. What is it? It's a, okay, one's a JPEG, the other's a GIF. I can't open the GIF image. I'll open the JPEG first and then I'll back space to the GIF image or whatever. Hopefully it'll show it. Come on. Oh, it takes so long. It's gonna be a minute here. Oh, there we go. So, on a time wheel, because Saturn L is Father Time. On a time wheel, we have many houses in a mansion. And so it's broken into 4 segments of 3. And so the first house is in astrology, is the succedent. The second is the cardinal, and the third is the cadent. So the succedent house is the one that is rising in power. The cardinal house stands straight and is the cardinal in power, which is an allegory for maybe even a religious system. And the cadent house is the house that is falling from power. The 3 angles of light in each house, and the third angle is the one that is falling from power. The third, 1/3 of the angles of light are falling. Okay? So the original astrological knowledge has nothing to do with your newspaper horoscope. Horus. Scope. I'm just keeping throwing information here. Horizon. Horus. Horize is Horus, the sun god. And On used to be the name of a god in Heliopolis, I believe, the god of light. 25 times in the Bible it references that God is light. So what if it's just the study of optics, science, and mathematics before they had the words for it? So I believe in Heliopolis the god of light was named On. And that's why in our language we say the light is on. And so you add the ordinal E on the end of On and you get 1, and you spell horize backwards and you got 0, 0, 1. A sun disk with wings, or a horizontal line with a circle, the I and the O, 1 and the 0. Positive and negative. And not a judgment call, just referencing forces in nature. Electricity and magnetism, the watery flow of magnetism, and the electric charge, electromagnetic. Have you ever noticed, and let's maybe hope not, and if anybody did, let's clean their brain of that. There's one that talks about, I always leave something out. Let's just say there's the magnetic universe. Well, what about the electric? But then what about the magnetic? You can't have one without the other. Electromagnetic. So anybody talking about one specific thing and not another one either is full of crap, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they're just trying to, sell some snake oil, or they're working for the bad guys and don't even know it, or maybe they know it. Who knows? How could so many people be involved? What if there's 100,000 primates on my parallel Earth, and they run the rest of them like a Roman zoo, and they act like a bunch of zookeepers. I call them Primate Management Services, which is short for PMS, because they're an irritant. Some people find that a little funny. So we're jumping back all of that, for the L is a fallen angle. So the word Satan is pi, and the L is a fallen angle. And if you put it back upright, it's a 7. And the U is the 22nd letter of the alphabet. Considering that the Romans didn't have a V and a U kind of deal, so I know the U and the V, 21 and 22, because you got sun. S is a 3, N is a 5, and 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 equals 21. And so 6 is the number you got to add up to get the U. So you replace the U with a 6, and you got S is 3, U is 6, and N is 5. So sun is 365, and the sun takes 365 days to orbit, or sorry, the Earth takes 365 days, roughly, to orbit the sun. Put the information in the language like Venus, perhaps. Oh, a heckler once said it takes 224.9 days to orbit the sun in its synodic orbit. But I say the V is a 22, and the E is a 5, and thus the sun spelled backwards, and it's coded information that tells you that Venus takes 225 days to orbit the sun. So in this instance, the U is a 22. Got it? We're following along with the bouncing ball. The U is a 22, the L is a 7. The ancient Egyptians divided 7 into 22 and got the equivalent of pi, very close, but not exact. And so 22 divided by 7 is pi, the equivalent of pi, and a cipher is a code. So LU cipher is pi code. Lucifer is the light bringer. Lucifer is LU cipher. Lucifer is pi code. And it has nothing to do with the guy. There was him and his 1/3 of angles of light fell from the sky. Lucifer's not real, neither is Satan. Satan's pi, Lucifer's pi. And now we jump to that other word, Illuminatus. So the Illuminatus, the I, the L, the M, and the I are Roman numerals. The I is a 1, the L is a 50, the other L is a 50, and the two 50s added together is 100, because we're sticking to binary code here. The M is 1,000, and the I is 1. ILLMI is 1, 100, 1,001. Or, Google it. Google, the great bull of heaven. Google binary code for pi. 1, 100, 1,001. So ILLMI is binary code for pi. And what you have left over is U natus. Two U's, U over U, cancel each other out. 22 divided by 22 or 21 divided by 21 equals 1, or the letter A. So when you're spelling the word natus, Natus, you cancel out the two U's and replace the U with an A, so you got Natas backwards. Spells Satan, Satan, which is pi. So the word Illuminatus could mean servants of pi, or Satan, servants of pi, and keepers of the secrets of pi. Mathematics, astronomy, optics, electromagnetism, biology, science, logic, law, nothing to do with ghosts, goblins, and demons. My research, there are No gods, no ghosts, no aliens. In my fictional universe, parallel world. So there we go. I guess that's something for now. So there's all kinds of deeper things there, and this is how you can solve this puzzle. See, when I need some. I've had some alleged criminals take a lot of my money. Lost $48,000, and like I said, I used to have 2 computers. I have a different life. I lost all kinds of things. I had to leave all kinds of stuff behind. 4 years or 5 years of my life trying to move around and find a place to live. All kinds of weirdos showing up, criminal activity, the degradation of my local society and cultural kind of things, and I don't know, all kinds of just random events happening. Weird things, stuff like that, who knows, right? A lot of damage. Shouldn't be going on. Shouldn't be going on. Especially the people that got away with writing up some, just print off a fake court order with a printer they could have bought from, like, you know, any store, online, whatever. I don't want to mention any names. Unless somebody wants to pay me to, you know, advertise their companies or businesses or things like that. So somebody's printed off a court order trying to punish me, do damage to my life, perform a crime of attrition, slow me down, harass me, threaten me. All that jazz. Right? Because I've had this. There's a video on my channel for Primate. It's like 3 or 4 years old since I put that video up. That's the 3rd version. The first one said, I don't know, coming summer of, I don't know, 2014 or 15 or something like that. And then, like, my life gets screwed around. Then I try to put a new video. Coming summer of, whatever, 2015 or something like that. The fall. Coming in the fall of 2000, autumn. I hear 2 different things when people speak sometimes. Or when, just in the language. I have 2 different interpretations of the same language. One follows this coding system, and the other's the commonly held perception. There's 2 different definitions sometimes for words. That's another whole other topic. Anyway, so yeah, put up a video, and then I changed it. The last one, the current one that's sitting there, says coming soon. And that's because I was like, well, screw the whole freaking thing of trying to set a deadline or a date to try and produce something, because I don't know where I'm going to eat or live next for the next, there goes 4 years, 5 years. The entire last year and a half of my life leading up to now, before this, year and a half before this, I spent trying to find a place to live and getting away from the freaking, some of the most disturbing people you could ever meet. And so here I am, right now, as we approach winter solstice, where the sun apparently sits dead in the sky for 3 days on the 21st of December, and then rises again on the 25th and starts incrementally moving up in the sky until we reach the spring equinox. Winter solstice. Sol's T-ice. Summer and winter separated by the T. Sol, the sun god. L, whatever, okay. Ra. And then commonly through history in whatever, Saturnalia. Saturnalia, Tibullus, 55 BC. Said Saturnale was the god of the Bible. And then a lot of people in the world know that apparently the god of the Old Testament was the demiurge. Not a nice guy. People got the misconception. So there's a bunch of educated people that in my parallel universe, my fictional world, they know all this and more, lots more. And they know that nobody else knows it and everybody else has a twisted or warped or incorrect interpretation. And they just don't tell them. They let them make up all kinds of fantasy stories to try and explain it. And then if anybody gets near it, they just naysay them, shut them down. You must be one of those fact theorists. You must be a fact finder. Ooh. You know, see what I did? Not using those trigger words. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about there. Is an hour and 21 freaking minutes. So what if the clock, the hour hand is the sun hand, the Horus hand, the minute hand is the moon hand, men's, mons, moon, no vowels, M&N, moon, mon, men, menstrual, cycle. What was another word I was trying to think of? Anyways, I'm just thinking about it. I'm thinking of mermaid, merchant. And the second hand is the Saturn hand, Father Time. Sun hand, moon hand, and the star hand. Sun, moon, and stars. So what if another version of this is, I put this out years ago, but I left a few things out, and then I watched one of these fake gurus online steal my information, which is an amalgamation of various different sources and a couple interesting people I met along the way. And they see, we'll just go here. Let's oh, there we go. People have all kinds of interpretations of what that could be or what it could mean, right? Just my dry skin, make a fist. That way it doesn't look all wrinkly or dry. So there we go. So that's a compass and a square. And there's two kinds of compass. Compass eye. There's a compass that tells you the direction, and there's one used for, mathematics or engineering or technical drawings. They're tools. I saw a school once called a technical institute, and the thought came to my mind that no student that graduated from that school could build the same school, set up the columns, carve the statues, intricately designed stonework. None of the students that graduated, or most of them, couldn't use a compass and a square. And they'd never really been outside to learn how to move a rock or to mix chemicals to make cement, or move a rock with a 2x4 clamp and pedal. Fulcrum. Encryption is kryptonite. So someone took my story that I tried to tell there one time, and they charged $250 per person at a seminar with, say, I don't know, 300 people. And they lied to them all. Made a crap load of money for years. They took my information that I was trying to put together, but I left some pieces out. And then when I confronted them, what about this and this and this? Where did this come from and what does this mean? Oh, well, but, no, because you took it from me. Because you're missing this, this, and this. Bam. Nasty bastards. So, a sundial is comprised of 13 sticks. 12 sticks that mark the Horus or the hours. At nighttime, you would use a marquette, a device the Egyptians used, or Jacob's staff, which is shaped like a cross, to tell the time or position at night. But during the daytime, you could only use 12 sticks in the ground and a sun marker. So I'm gonna say that 12 disc eye poles and 12 opposts of L were the 12 apostles and the 12 disciples surrounding a sun marker. It's just a sundial. And in my parallel world, where Alexander, the mass murderer, killed everybody and raised them up to think, well, not him, but the Romans convinced everybody to worship a sundial, while the people got the Nicene Creed and the moon and star priests, ministers, inside the tent owl, the time house of El. They were just working on a new date for spring equinox, according to the calculations of astronomy. But for the peasants and the uninitiated, they got a new Legion of Ra. Is that about it for now? So there's all kinds of trickery. Loki, Moriarty, Lex Luthor, Dexter, those kind of characters all got together and formed a little mentalist magicians club. And they just keep the knowledge of how to rotate the food on the shelves and design the curvature of a highway and set the speed limits and all that to still keep on playing that you're just a dependent primate in a zoo run by zookeepers. And then they offer and acceptance of and consent and involuntary consent and trickery in contract, because the proverbial devil obeys contract law. And so, to weaken Superman, you gotta use kryptonite. Or you just give the Pharaoh's secrets to everybody, take away their kryptonite, and they become as powerful as the Pharaoh. And if everybody's a Pharaoh, if the castrated lion in the Wizard of Oz gets his courage back, and if the Tin Man gets a heart, and if the Scarecrow gets a brain, then that takes the power away from the wizard. And everybody becomes a Superman and a Supergirl. And then they return to the holistic system that was already set up in the first place a long time ago and was usurped. Yeah, good girl, yeah, honey, yeah. That love, yeah, you wanna go in there? I'm done, I guess, now. You had your drink of water, you always gotta come over. You always gotta come and say thank you or tell me, yeah, I just had a drink of water and my food. Yeah. Good girl. Nice girl, yeah. My little puppy dog. You're good girl. You had a drink of water and your food. Yes, I know. You want to say thank you? I do. Let's stop it. I'm busy. I'm busy right now. Just wait. You're so funny. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Okay, just lay down. Wait. Just wait. Yeah. So, I guess that's a bit of information. So, I was trying to just say there's a lot more people gotta think about and learn. Can't just go thinking that something's gotta change without knowing how it operates. Chop wood, carry water. I'm just thinking about the contract thing there. Gotta write a contract. Bind or release. And study lots. And all kinds of people all over the planet in my fictional universe. Because it's just legal hearsay anyways, right? If I don't have first-hand knowledge of it, I can't testify. Raise my right hand, hold my testicles with the left, testify on the Bible. That's a pretty sick trick. If I don't know. It's not any, it's never mind, you just gotta go. It's the way things work. My fictional world. Parallel Earth. All kinds of places, rioting people, rioting cats roaming around the castle with picket signs, and the people inside the castle just don't give a shit. And the stormtroopers. Roman soldiers. All over the planet, standing in their way. In completely different countries. I say that in my fictional world, anywhere with a church and a bank is on the payroll. Because a bank, that's my chart. It's mine. Got it from various different sources of information, and the code works. Which is just a word for hidden, I guess. And so the river bank, in every thalassocratic jurisdiction, Admiral. Ad is a prefix to serve, mare, mermaid. Mer is a reference to the watery magnetic forces, and L to serve magnetics and electricity. And water, Admiral T. Okay, so what a ride, eh? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. gently. Because on my world in the fictional universe, if those people riding all over the planet ever stopped and got out of the state of mind they were in, mob mentality, where a zookeeper or a primate handler could just walk into the crowd and yell, "Burn the witch!" and the whole crowd goes nuts. They got to get their shit together. Otherwise, they don't know what they're doing. And as long as somebody knows how to work them, they ain't gonna figure anything out or fix anything or stop anything. Told ya, insidious, sinister, horror story. Gently down the stream, merrily, 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 vocalizing it, I'm not singing it. Life is but a dream. Perception management. One big psy-op. Okay, so thank you for your time. I spell day in this instance D-E-I, as in a root word for day or the sun god, deity. When I say as I say to all my prey, have a nice day. That's one of my, I don't know, I tried to make up some things here over the years. Assimilate, replicate, disseminate. Perception management. One big psy-op. So, that's it. This has been your friendly neighborhood psy-ops agent.